Okay, just get your mat ready for your restorative practice. So just have a blanket over your normal mat, or just have a really comfy blanket to lay on, and then have a folded blanket for your head. Make sure it's nice and evenly folded. Have a bolster underneath your knees. Cushions will do if you haven't got a bolster, and then blocks underneath your feet. If you feel like you might be cold, then have a blanket handy that you can cover yourself with if you need to. Otherwise, just lay yourself down onto the floor. So comfort, warmth, and darkness are really, really useful for this type of yoga. So if you've got something to cover your eyes with, like a yoga eye pillow, then use that. If you haven't, just a piece of material or just something that's going to put a little weight on your eyelids and just give you a little amount of comfort in the eyes and quietness of the brain. So find yourself a position that you're going to be able to stay in. You might not necessarily find the position straight away, so it's fine to just adjust until you feel like you're in a good straight line, until you feel that you're comfortable and that you found a position that you can stay in. Sometimes you might need to adjust the position of the bolster underneath your knees. Sometimes you might want more lift under the feet or less lift under the feet, more lift under the head or less. So just find your position of comfort. And then just listen to the sound of the breath. Deep inhalations and deep exhalations. Listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Just maintaining softness of the jaw and softness of the tongue and softness of the throat. Observe that when you soften your tongue, you also soften around the eyes. You also soften the eyeballs and the sockets. Observe how your body makes contact with the floor, how the equipment underneath your body feels in contact with the equipment, how the equipment helps to soften the back, helps to soften the neck. Draw your attention into the skin, from the face to the feet, drawing your attention into the sensations of the skin. And draw your attention into the soles of the feet, into the skin of the soles of the feet. Drawing your consciousness into the soles of the feet so that you can feel the skin of the soles of the feet. Become more conscious. And then consciously relax the muscle and the flesh and the skin of the underside of the foot. And then consciously relax the soles of the feet. Just allowing the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone of the sole of the foot to completely release. Draw your attention into the top of the foot, the upper facing skin of the foot. Drawing your consciousness into the top of the foot, and then consciously softening the skin and the muscle and the bone, consciously relaxing the sole of the foot. Just relaxing the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone of the top of the foot. Draw your consciousness into the shins. Drawing your focus into the area around the fronts of the legs, in the shins, so that the skin becomes conscious and tingly. And then consciously relax the shins into the bed of the calf muscle, the shin bone and the shin skin, softening and relaxing. Draw your attention into your thighs, to the skin and the flesh just below the skin and the muscle. And then consciously relax the thighs, allowing the fronts of the thighs to sink into the backs of the thighs. Relaxing the thighs into the backs of the legs. Draw your attention into the abdomen and the chest. Observe as you inhale how the chest rises upwards and outwards. Drawing your consciousness into the torso. And then allowing the skin and the muscle and the bones of the torso to completely release. Just relaxing the muscles around the chest and the shoulders and the side ribs and the abdomen. And then draw your attention into your arms. Observe the feeling of the arms resting into the floor. Drawing your attention into the arms and the shoulders and the elbows and the forearms and the hands. And then consciously allow your arms to release into the floor. And then consciously relax your arms into the floor, just letting go of the muscles, unhooking the muscles of the arms. And then draw your attention into your neck. Draw your attention into your neck and soften the muscles around the neck. Soften the skin around the neck. Softening muscles around the neck and the throat. And draw your attention into the skin around the head. Softening the forehead by drawing the forehead down to the mouth. Softening the ears and the sockets. And then consciously soften the skin around the face and the neck and the head. Just allowing yourself to become heavy on the floor. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just gently wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. Just roll onto your right side for a moment. Just stay down, just on your side, just resting out for a moment. And then just straighten out the top leg. Just come up into cross-leg position for a moment. Just hold onto your knees, just lift up into the chest. Just observe how your energy is subtly changed. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of shoulder stretches. This is a nice side extension. If you've got a oblong bolster like this, then you can use that. If you haven't, then you can use a blanket. So just unfold your blanket so that it's so it's like double the, it's like a quarter fold, I suppose you would call it, and then just fold that right down the middle like that, and then fold it in half again. And then it's not a million miles away from from a bolster, so you can have that. So you have that in your armpit chest as you come down. So you'll want a block for your head, and maybe if you've got a stiff shoulder, you might want an additional block to bring your hand onto. I'll show you. So you're going to come onto your side, your knees are going to stay bent. You lengthen out along this side as you come down, and then you just rest your head on the block. So you've got this armpit chest supported, this hand that's on the floor just stays in a little right angle, and then you reach over, let the arm rest over your ear. If there's stiffness in your shoulder though, you might want to just have a block underneath that hand just to give you just a little bit of additional lift. Otherwise, just bring that hand over onto the ear. So just bring yourself over onto one side. It doesn't really matter which one you do first. And then just rest down into the bolster. Try and breathe evenly into both lungs, even though one lung is just slightly constricted by the bolster. So as we progress into these other poses, I'll speak less and less so that you aren't having to spend your time listening. You can spend your time just relaxing your ears, resting in the inner ear. So you're relaxing rather than listening. Just breathe evenly. Meaning to fill both lungs evenly. So after staying in the pose for a little while, you start to just click into the pace of work. So in a moment, we're going to disturb ourselves. So just prepare yourself mentally for bringing that top arm back, just to rest on your side for a moment. And then push your elbow into the floor and come up into, just come into cross legs, just observing how your energy has changed a little. How the two sides of the torso feel slightly different because of the bolster. And then we'll just go over onto the other side. So the other hip. So you're lengthening out that side, those side ribs, having the bolster underneath the armpit chest, having the block for your head, and then again just stretching your arm over your ear, putting the hand on the block if it needs to be supported higher. Just allow yourself to rest into the floor. Remembering breathing evenly into both lungs. Breathing evenly into both lungs. In the space constriction of the armpit chest, otherwise the wide open channel of breath. Taking deep inhalations, deep exhalations, just filling the body up with positive energy. Okay, when you're ready, just bring that top arm back onto your chest and your hip. Push yourself up into a seated position, and then just come into cross legs, just holding onto your knees. Just observe the energy around the shoulders and around the neck. So just staying with really simple minimalist equipment. Just bring your bolster long ways like this. Just bend your knees similar to the way that you were for the last pose, and then we can just do a little spinal twist. So you can lift your chest and then guide your chest along the bolster, the chest facing the bolster, and then rest your head on your chin in the same direction as your knees are pointing in, and then just allow yourself to rest into the bolster. Have your elbows wide enough apart so that you're not supporting your weight with your arms. You're just allowing yourself to drape over the bolster. So remember, just use the equipment as you need it. You can use more blankets just to lift yourself up a little more, or just release into the floor with the equipment that you have. Okay, push yourself up into a seated position just again. Just observing the energy that the pose releases. And then just on the other side, so the opposite hip, just close to the bolster. And again, lift the chest, drive the chest down so that the chest is facing the bolster, and then rest your head on the other side. Okay, push your hands into the floor, just bring yourself up into seated position. Just observe your energy and cross legs for a moment. And then just to finish off, we're going to come back into just lay down on our back with the bolster underneath us, just for our heart pose. So the bolster just supports the back, and just have a blanket from underneath your head, just to stop your head from rolling back, and then just let the legs release along the floor. Just feel all of that openness around the chest and the ribcage and the abdomen. Just allow yourself to release into the floor. Letting go of the muscles of the arms and the legs. Allowing the muscles to unhook. Allowing the body to be supported by the floor and the bolster. Just observing your lightness of energy from the inside. Feeling of glowing, warming energy that radiates out from the bones into the muscle and the flesh and the skin. Within the body with a warm brightness that glows through the skin. Distributing that feeling of lightness evenly down into the tips of the toes, the tips of the fingers and the top of the head, using your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of lightness. Basking in that feeling of energetic lightness. And then when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and then push yourself up into the seated position. Just sit yourself on your bolster, just into a cross leg position, the hands in Namaste, drawing your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your gentle practice this evening, that lightness from the inside. Feeling of effervescence and positive energy. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then radiate some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you really lifted your energy. You've kind of loosened up your shoulders and your neck a little, and there's lots of good energy to put into your evening. So thanks very much for joining me.